It's Story of the Day, and we're back with Michael Morpurgo's Casper, Prince of Cats. Who gives a fig anyway? Elizabeth looked up at me and smiled. Hello, she said. My name is Miss Elizabeth Stanton. What's the cat called? Casper, I told her. Is he yours? Yes, I said, and this is my room too. I knocked and no one was in, she went. So I thought it would be a good place to hide. I like hiding. Then I saw this cat lying on the bed, and he looked so sad. He's very beautiful, but he's very thin. You know, he doesn't look at all well. Look at him. He's starving hungry. You should feed Casper more often. That's what I think. Your mother's been looking for you. She thought you got lost, I told her, trying to hide my growing irritation. To be honest, I didn't much like being told by some hoity-toity little rich girl that Casper needed to eat more. Hadn't I been trying for weeks on end to get him to do just that? And although I was relieved to see Casper eating again, I have to confess I was more than a little upset that this little girl seemed to have succeeded so easily where I had failed. So the truth is that at our first meeting, I was not disposed to like Miss Stanton at all. She seemed far too full of herself for my liking. Just you wait till I tell Mamma and Papa about Casper, she went on. Can I take him downstairs to show them? It hadn't even occurred to me that until that moment this little girl could blow the whole secret. I crouched down so that we were face to face and put my hands on her shoulders. She had to know how serious I was about this. You can't say a word, I told her. The thing is, I'm not allowed to keep pets up here. Against the rules, see? No pets in the servant quarters. If anyone finds out, I'll get the sack, lose my position. I'll have no one to live, and neither will Casper. No one else knows he lives up here. You won't tell anyone, will you? It'll be our little secret, right? She was looking at me intently all the while. She thought for a moment or two. Then she said, I don't like rules, especially unfair rules, like not being allowed to keep a cat. So I won't tell anyone. Cross my heart and hope to die, she then added. But will you let me come up and feed Casper again sometime? I hadn't any choice. I suppose so, I said, if you want to. I do, she cried. I like him so much, and he likes me. I knows he does. It was true. Casper was looking up at her adoringly. He could hardly take her eyes off of her. She grabbed my hand and shook it. Oh, thank you, but I don't know your name. Johnny Trot, I told her, as she let out a peal of laughter. Johnny Rot, that's such a funny name. Bye, Casper, bye, Johnny Rot. And she was still giggling as she skipped off down the corridor and was gone. As I watched her go, I remembered the last person who found my name so funny. I was already disliking Elizabeth a little less. I had no idea then, and I still have no idea now, how she managed to get Casper to eat his liver that morning. I asked her later on, once I got to know her better, and she gave me one of her infuriating shrugs. It's easy when you know how, she told me. Animals always do whatever I want, because they know I'd do anything for them, and that's because I love them, and that's why they love me. She had this way with, as some children do, of making everything sound so simple and straightforward. After that little surprise visit, Miss Elizabeth Stanton, or Lizzie-Beth, as I discovered she liked to be called, came to my room to feed Casper at least twice a day without fail. Sometimes I was there, sometimes I wasn't. Whenever she'd been, I'd find a little scribble note on my pillow. It would say something like this. Dear Johnny Rot, I came to feed Casper again. I stole some smoked salmon for my breakfast. He likes it a lot, which I don't because it smells of fish, which is horrible. I made your bed too, which you didn't, and you should too. Don't worry, your secret's safe. Promise. I like secrets because it's like hiding, and I like hiding. From your friend, Lizzie-Beth. There's no doubt in my mind at all that it was the arrival of Lizzie-Beth that saved Casper's life. Somehow she brought joy into his life where there had only been sorrow. With her, there beside me, he was eating and drinking everything I put in front of him. Within a week he was beginning to sharpen his claws, mostly on the curtains, but sometimes on my trousers, when I was wearing them too, and that hurt a lot. I didn't mind much though, because I was just happy to see him getting better. His coat shone, his tail swished, and when one day he smiled at me, I knew for sure that Prince Casper Candingsky was himself again. Lizzie-Beth had lifted his spirits, and she lifted mine too. But I was worried that one day she might let the cat out the bag, so to speak. I kept reminding her that secrecy was everything. Remember, Lizzie-Beth, you've got to keep... Shtum, I told her one evening, tapping my nose conspiratively. She liked that, so whenever she left my room, she'd tap her nose. Shtum, she'd whisper. I've got to keep shtum. Lizzie-Beth became quite a little mascot on our corridor, and quite a hero too on account of everything she'd done for Caspar. She may have been a little bit on the talkative side, and could be mischievous too, but she was a bundle of fun, and she made us all laugh. But I couldn't help wondering whether she might one day become too overexcited and blurt our secret out by mistake. I took all the precautions I could, asking her always to check behind her before she climbed the stairs to our corridor, and I made it the absolute rule that she spoke in whispers whenever she came to see us. Those, it seemed, were the kind of rules that she was quite happy with. Lizzie-Beth liked anything, I discovered, if it involved some kind of conspiracy. It was during these long whispered conversations in my room that I got to know much more about her. Actually, to begin with, they weren't conversations at all, not as such. They were more like monologues. And tomorrow we will pick up the second